I owe you an apology. I wasn't really familiar with your game, but now, yeah, you've got my attention. This half-man, half-dog hybrid, wow, that's disturbing, has burst into theatres worldwide and is barking loudly at the top of the box office. Fans obsessed, newbies hooked, and now everyone's asking, when is Dogman 2 happening? I'll be real, I was slightly too old for Dogman when it dropped in 2016, but you best believe I was flipping that Rama as a kid. You see kids, back in my day, Captain Underpants was how we destroyed silent reading time at school. Yes, I'm a dinosaur. But despite not growing up with a pooch, I'm now locked in. And I've just Amazoned the entire series to my house and I'm speedrunning it, which makes me the perfect candidate to start predicting, pitching and theorising exactly what should happen in a Dogman sequel. Yes, Dogman 2. And today I've got not 5, not 1, but 3 cheeky pitches for the future of this franchise. I'm kind of Slurp and these are 3 pitches for Dogman 2. Number 3, Dogman and Cat Kid. As I powered through the Dogman catalogue, keeping in mind I needed to pitch one of these books for the next adaptation, I hit book 4 and immediately thought, yep, we found our candidate. I mean, come on, this book opens with Petey, who you may have thought has been redeemed, undercover as an old lady named Mrs. Suspicious Flame, the world's greatest babysitter. And yeah, I was sold. I need to see this on the big screen, but wait, it gets even better. The entire plot of the book, well, it's based around Hollywood, and yeah, that's perfect for an actual Hollywood movie. Yes, that's right, a major part of this story revolves around a movie adaptation of Dogman's life being filmed. Tell me that wouldn't be a dream for DreamWorks to adapt. They could go wild with the material, they have over-the-top studio executives, bloated spectacle, and oh yeah, the actor playing Dogman in the movie? Yeah, that makes Chris Pratt as Mario look like perfect casting. And it gets better. The entire book is basically just a joke about Hollywood making a movie about Dogman, a literal dog-headed cop. It's a parody of Hollywood's obsession with IP, intellectual property movies. So how would DreamWorks joke about the fact that they are in fact parodying this while making an adaptation of a popular book IP? There is so much to work with here. And it's not just Hollywood that they could parody. This is where the Dogman series fully leans into the superhero genre. Little Petey gets obsessed with becoming a superhero, Dogman becomes the Dark Knight for the first time, and let's be honest, if Dogman 2 doesn't give us the Dark Knight, is it even a proper sequel? I mean, how many Batman movies have there been? You know, animators would have a field day parodying Bat history in a Dogman movie. But I've got to be real, I do have some hesitation with Dogman and Cat Kid being the next movie to adapt. And my hesitation is that Petey does kind of go full on villain again. And yeah, that's a trope in the books, but in a movie sequel? I don't know. The first movie gave him such a good redemption arc that making him fully bad again might feel a little bit jarring, but don't worry, I might just have a fix for that. Number 2, Lord of the Fleas. Alright, out of my deep dive into the Dogman literary canon, Lord of the Fleas is easily my favourite so far, and honestly, it just makes so much sense as the next movie. Why? Because it gives Petey so much to do. Early on we see Petey's backstory. He was once in a group called the Critter Scouts, but got wrongfully blamed for chaos and kicked out. In response he went full on villain, disbanding the Scouts and ruining things for Piggy, Crunky and Bub, who later became the Fleas, a gang bent on revenge. And listen, this is why I need this to be adapted next. This book deepens Petey's arc so much. It keeps his redemption story going, but still explores his past mistakes. It doesn't undo the growth like in Cat Kid, but rather actually builds upon it. I mean, there's a moment where Piggy is trash talking little Petey, trying to get Petey back into crime, and Petey thinks back to a scene from an earlier book, one we actually saw in that first movie. It's such a powerful moment of growth, and I love that it directly ties into the emotional arc of the first movie. Oh, and look, Dogman 2 must have the Fleas. Why? Because they're fun villains, but unlike Petey, they stay bad. And honestly, in this current animation landscape, That's kind of refreshing. We've seen it so much in animation. Every villain has to be redeemed or they're just misunderstood, but sometimes we just need bad guys. No, not them. We should teach kids that people can change, yes, and I believe everyone has the power to, but not everyone who does bad things is simply a victim of circumstance. Sometimes people suck. And Lord of the Fleas perfectly balances that message, showing redemption is possible for Petey, but also that not everyone earns it. Long story short, the Fleas need to be the villain in Dogman 2. If you want to pull from more material, Brawl of the Wild could also be tied in. Dogman found Standoff, I think that one's kind of a banger, right? And I mention that because the Fleas are back here and have a lot to do. Oh, and one more thing, and this is very, very important, so listen up. The movie has to be called Dogman, the Fleaquel. And if you do not think that is the greatest sequel title in cinematic history, I don't know what to tell you. Universal, hire me, I'm cheap.